Well, 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 I came back from my trip and lo and behold, all of my items have sold, or at least most of them. But the tax update has hit the game, which means that I don't even want to pull these into my inventory because it's not going to give me any of the money. No, God. What is up, Samurai? We are back in with some more patch notes. Yes, that's right. The patch has already been live since April 18th, I think. So already last week. I only just got back on the 22nd, and I've been, I hit the ground running. I haven't even had time to edit my vlog. I've just been recording, and streaming, as you've probably noticed. So it's going to take a little while for me to get back into the swing of things, and means that I also have a lot of things backlogged that I kind of got to catch up on, not necessarily Trove related, but we do have the patch notes to go through. So that's what we're going to end up doing in today's video. Now, there is kind of a summary of the update. So it's talking about inflation increasing all over the place. Prices are rising, speculation is out of control. We have to do something, blah, blah, blah. This is funny. So we've heard your voices reporting that many items are unaffordable for the majority of players. In order to protect our players, we've decided to implement a small listing fee and a tax on sales in the marketplace. We believe this should help drive down flux inflation and discourage speculation in the form of flipping. So market flipping is just out the window. Direct trading is unaffected, so players who prefer to find buyers themselves are unaffected by these changes. I completely disagree with this statement. I don't know what two people they got complaints about this, because as far as I've heard from literally everybody, nobody likes this update. Like, I don't know who they're talking about mentioning that this update needed to be a thing, because the feedback is everybody hates it, like including endgame players that will ultimately remain unaffected because they'll just end up listing items for an increased flux price rather than dipping the price down because they're going to try and compensate for the service fee and taxes. Like, it just, I don't get it, man. This is a video game. It's not real life. The other thing that I'm extremely bothered by is, in my opinion, one of the things that I love about Trove, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here before we get into the patch notes. One of the things that I love about Trove is its ease of use. But one of the things that I hate about it is it seems like the game itself being an MMO and the developer's idea of what this game is are in constant battle with one another, because the devs will constantly like make items untradeable or add taxes to the market, and will do these things that try to take away the fact that it's an MMO and take away the, not only the ability, but also the functionality of us as players interacting with one another. Case in point, once upon a time, they were going to add a group or partying system to the game, rather than just being able to play with people that are in your proximity. So this is, typical of Trove, one step forward, two steps back. I don't necessarily think that the tax update as a whole is a bad thing, but I feel like in a lot of ways it actually just streamlines, not streamline, opposite of streamline, whatever that term would be. It makes it so that the trading post becomes so much more valuable, which means that you have to go out of your way to use trade chat with people versus just using the player market and it being ease of use, right? In a lot of ways, I feel like the player market was a really, really nice functionality for a lot of people for the ease of use of it all, for the streamlined trading, right? Especially for somebody like myself, where it's very difficult for me to manage sitting and talking to people and trading with people constantly because I'm managing my own time, right? But on top of all of that, it's just the fact that now selling items becomes a lot less desirable because of the fact that you could potentially end up losing money off of your sale. Anyways, that's my 2 cents towards it. Let's get into the patch notes and you can decide for yourselves. So the marketplace updates overall are going to be quite significant. I do need to turn off the advanced marketplace mod, if you'll just give me a second here. So this update, I'm sure will end up getting updated at some point, or at least I hope it will, because unfortunately, the new market is actually great. The one thing that I will say about the UI and the functionality of the marketplace is It's great because it means that console players will now have access to these various changes, and it, it makes the marketplace a lot better. It's a lot cleaner as far as readability. And on top of that, when you're pricing items and junk like that, you can very easily like see what items you're trading and see the value of them, the average value of them, and so on and so forth. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So Pinzo has taken over the marketplace and has demanded his likeness be placed in the name. So the marketplace just kind of has more lore friendliness to it. Who cares? The marketplace now only accepts Flux as a currency. All existing Pentaforged Shadow Soul priced items should be expired and claimable. Not that anybody sold items were Pentasouls anyways, but you can still trade them. You just have to buy them with Flux as the main currency only. When listing an item on the marketplace, a listing fee will be charged. The fee can range from 50 to 65,000 Flux depending on the listing price of the items being listed. If the item does not sell, this fee will not be returned. If the item does sell, the fee will be returned. So that's kind of their way of combating marketplace flipping, which in my opinion wasn't a bad thing, because people flipping the market is just like, it's going to happen no matter what, because there are still Flux dupers in this game, and that's the main problem. So I understand where they're coming from with this kind of being their solution. It's just not a very good one. So anyways, let's see. If I try to sell this guy, you'll see that the overall average is people selling this ally one at a time, and then its lowest price is that, and its highest price is that. Cool. So I could basically list this guy on the market for like 10,000, and then it would end up charging, total price. No, 10,000 per unit. So it would total charge me 62 Flux, whatever. It's, it's not that big of a deal, but okay, whatever. Anyways, I'm just trying to get the point across. So successful sales on the marketplace will also be charged a 10% tax. So you'll get your Flux charge back, but then you'll lose 10% of the total sale price. That sucks. Note that if an auction is sold before this change, but the seller claims the profits afterwards, they will still be charged the tax. Get your claims in before this goes live. I was gone on vacation, so this is gonna hurt. So basically, original marketplace price was 200K, and I am losing 20K out of selling this. That's painful, dude. Like even this thing, I lost 33,000, or even these little guys, I lost 5K. Like you can see this is adding up quite a bit. I'm losing a lot of Flux here. The expiration of that item, okay, whatever, but still, yikes, dude. Also, I don't know why. Like I'm looking at this, and maybe I need glasses or something. This UI is microscopic. I mean, I'm also playing at like 2K resolution, but it's a little bit tiny for the readability. So basically, if I really wanted to sell this, I would have to sell it at a good average price. But as you can see, nobody's selling it. So it's really, really risky to use the market now, which I don't like. So anyways, the marketplace will now display 12 items per page instead of 6, and the balance of the UI has been adjusted for readability. And in my opinion, it needs to be a bit bigger or changed a bit. The marketplace comparison information has been updated to permanently display on the sell tab once an item has been added. The formula for calculating this listing has been updated to either display the lowest or highest value, an average of the lowest and highest listing. We already kind of showed that. I think that is fantastic. It makes it so much easier than having to check the market all the time for pricing and so on and so forth. So it's definitely a lot better in terms of the quality of life aspect of it. There is now a quick search button that can be found on the sell tab once an item listing has started being created. So basically I can throw this here, and then I can check the market myself right then and there whether or not the item is there, which unfortunately it's not in this case, but I'm just saying. So it'll automatically search for the existing listings once it's been selected. The amount of sale slots in the marketplace has also been doubled. So the prices remain consistent with other marketplace sale slots though, because as far as I know, like as a player, you have to buy these, right? Like you got, look at this. So we've got more slots that we can unlock, more things to drain your qubits, right? I don't even know why this is a thing, because I would never sell more than like one page of items anyways. But I mean, for people that use the market a lot Okay, awesome. For people that market flip, that's great. But now you can't flip anymore. So one step forward, two steps back, as we always famously say with Trove. Listings that are currently active will now display how much time is left before they expire in the individual listing. Commas have been added to the currency displays for readability, and they'll be removed, while sale prices are being edited for the sake of clarity, but added back once the item field is deselected. Very strange, but basically what they're saying is I can put this up here, put it up for like 5 mil, and then as soon as I click off, or 500K, and then as soon as I click off of it, it'll actually add the comma. So that I think is great, because so many people will accidentally, I've heard from you guys countless times over the years of selling an item without adding an extra zero. So yeah. There is also going to end up being some other additional changes. So that's it for the marketplace. Up next is going to be the Nekonomicon. So this is something I would recommend you check out my video of the Nekonomicon that was recorded on the PTS, because this information is still relevant. I do have tutorials on it already. But anyways, some superstition Trovians claim the Nekonomicon is available to craft in like other tomes, but nobody knows if they are to be trusted. So basically there is, where the heck is it? There's the tome table, right? I don't know where it is. It's in rune crafting, right? Yeah. So basically there is a tome that we can only get when we have enough superstition. So Samantha gives us 13 superstition, which is the amount that we need in order to see this tome in the first place. And this is going to end up being a legendary tome that takes, I think I calculated 100 dungeons or something like that, just because it's like double the amount of time that any other legendary tome takes to finish. It's a very, very annoying mechanic. But basically, the tome takes 5 times longer than a legendary tome. Never mind. So there you go. Once filled, this tome gives a gravesite buff, which will allow players to see Fiona Castra, who hangs out in Adventure World outposts. So when you end up entering a world, right then and there, that's an adventure outpost. Occasionally filling this tome also will grant a Castra recipe for the recipes that are located on her specific workbench. She sells a variety of decoration items, including a new framework at outrageously expensive prices. She only deals in bones. So I don't know why they're trying to pool all of our bones and make that item like more valuable, especially when they just got rid of market flipping. It's just odd. Luckily, recipes for these decoration items can also be found on her workbench for a fraction of the cost. It's not true. It's actually still extremely expensive and drains your bones just for a bunch of things that, in my opinion, aren't even really worth crafting. But anyways, Fiona will sell 1 recipe, and the rest can be acquired by filling up the Nekonomicon each week. A curious workbench can rarely appear in dungeons in the Cursed Vale biome and can only be seen while gravesite is active. Each workbench only has 1 of the recipes for the 4 related collections. Why? Why do they keep doing all of these different mechanics, dude? Like, the merchants already spawning from dungeons would be decent enough, except for how rare they are. These crafting bench now being an additional item that rarely appears. When the devs say rarely, they mean like 0.1% chance. Like, it's ridiculous. But okay, that's the Nekonomicon. Again, check out my other video. I'll have a card in the top right. There's also a bunch of new dungeons that have been added to the game. One of them by our very own Team Pixel officer, Spooky Pants, who's been around with the channel for years and I'd consider to be a good friend of mine. Anyways, cool, new dungeons added. New styles have been added to the game as well. There's also going to end up being some additional changes that we're already moving on to. So another thing that I had a video talking about briefly was that Gonda trains are no longer functional because, unfortunately, harvesting resources such as ore now limit themselves to being collected by the nearest 8 players to make them more consistent with other drops such as loot. Why? Why did you do this, developers? You know what that means? That means that the game is hard-coded to only drop loot for 8 people, but they could increase it. Like on Leviathans. Like... okay, anyways. They say that they fixed a bunch of issues and crashes and stuff. The major Star of Rage 3.0 now correctly gives 12% damage increase up from 10%. There's a shocking lack of bombs in Trove, so we've enabled the mass crafting of bombs at the Adventure's crafting bench. Under the bombs category, players will now find recipes, allowing them to craft bombs in increments of 100, 1,000, and 10,000. That's actually a really nice change, just because crafting them one at a time is really annoying, and it was causing server lag, so that should resolve some of those issues. Reduce the time it takes to craft clue bits at an upgraded traveling club merchant fixture. Who cares? The four named pirate captains will now drop trophies appropriate to them, whatever. Trophy collectors rejoice. Tooltips in the collections UI should now more consistently appear in line with the item instead of at the top of the screen. Plasma fishing pools should now more consistently give the correct fish during the Tuesday bonus. I guess it was giving the wrong fish. Fixed a couple issues with editing. Club member drop down in the club UI would display weird stuff and blah, blah, blah. They fixed that. Updated some fishing dailies to refer to them lasting for 3 days instead of for 24 hours. Adjusted the abilities for the Vanguardian so they will be more likely to trigger while using basic attack, although they are still not entirely consistent. Okay, I don't know what they're talking about there. What abilities for his base attack? That's odd. Maybe they just are trying to make it so that his cooldown with his punches is working better, just because it was supposed to be a guarantee on every third strike. So I don't know why they're saying it's not entirely consistent. It's just odd. Some of the Geo topside dungeons have been slightly adjusted to provide better player experience. That makes me interested, actually, because I wonder if they finally changed the worst 5-star dungeon in the entire game. Okay, I can't find like the super terrible dungeon, but this is another one that was consistently not very good. Just because of, Jesus, it's so laggy. Just because of all of these being things that you had to climb into. So it looks like they didn't actually change this, which is kind of annoying. I've been at this for like 10 minutes, just going in a straight line. I'm almost at the world limit, and I still haven't actually found, that terrible 5-star dungeon. So fingers crossed that they actually fixed it, but honestly, I don't think that they did. So Sharkman mementos have been updated to match the names of the trophies and updated some of the legal documents players agree to when launching the game. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I noticed that when we launched the game. Suddenly it was like, hey, do you agree to this? And it was like, I guess so. Otherwise, I'm out of content. And updated the slam VFX used by some bosses as well, which is odd that they would even bother updating that VFX and not the Draco's fire. Anyways, what do you guys think about the update? I think overall it's got some nice quality of life changes, but unfortunately is just not like, it's not a super great update. You know, most of all, like the marketplace, it has some very, very nice quality of life changes, but then the functionality of the taxes and everything it's a bit iffy. I'm not going to say that I dislike the fact that they're adding some sort of a tax to the game, but I feel like it was executed poorly. I personally think that there should be some sort of, I don't know, like maybe there should be somewhere that the tax goes instead of just being obliterated into the dust. Because with the type of game that Trove is, we're not talking about a game like RuneScape where it makes sense to have the taxes because so many players are trading. And even then, I'm pretty sure that the taxes actually serves more of a purpose. I wouldn't know because I don't play RuneScape, but it makes sense for it to be in MMOs. And it does make sense for it to be in Trove, despite the fact that it's a bit weird. And in my opinion, I think the biggest issue that myself and so many other players have with this update is it's too little too late. This update is just going to hurt new players, not make items cheaper for them. Because everybody that's at the end of the game is just going to upscale the price to compensate. And let's be real, there's flux dupers still playing this game today that have infinite flux. And this does not affect them and does not combat that in any way, shape, or form. The other thing too is that, as you would have expected, this entire update, which feels in a lot of ways like it's designed around console players, is not actually on consoles yet. So who knows when that's going to end up happening. But either way, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Sign on, stay epic, everybody.